Welcome, fantasy hockey fans, to Stick and Puck Fantasy Hockey League's Week 19 recap. Brought to you this week by Habits of Grace. Let's get right into this week's matchups. We start with Lenny's Legends versus the Forest Hills Flames. Of note, 3 teams broke the record for most points in a week. The record previously set by Lenny's Legends in week number 18. It would be Team 1, who had 141.6 points, who would ultimately claim right to that record. So now, Lenny's Legends versus the Forest Hills Flames. It was the Legends winning 141 to 102.2. The Flames came in having won 3 in a row, but that streak was broken by the Streak Busters. That's what people are calling the Lenny's Legends now after breaking Staying Alive's 5-game winning streak. The Legends had more points. Looking at the week rundown here, had more points. What was I going to say here? Oh, Lenny's Legends had more points than the Flames every day except for Saturday. Okay, the MVP is Igor Shesterkin with a phenomenal 29.8 fantasy points. That might be the record for most points by a player in a single week. Other top performers included Matt Boldy with 14.4, Sider with 10.6, and Hedman with 13.1. The low performer was Matt Duchesne with only 0.5 points. He was hurt and out on Monday. That might have been the main cause of that extremely low point total. The goalie tandem of Shesterkin and Demko was the top goalie tandem for this week, even though Demko only produced 2 fantasy points. Looking down at the Flames stat sheet, the top performer for the Flames was a Wild player, and that was a theme this week. The Wild players, top players, produced many points this week. 18.6 for Mats Zuccarello. Also of note, Shea Theodore had 10 points, and also there was another performer who did quite well, and his name was... Actually, there were only 2 players in double digits. What I was going to say is something of a low note. The goalie tandem went negative 1.6 points. Aiden Hill with negative 3.6. So it was the Legends defeating the Flames and eliminating the Flames from playoff contention. Let's go to the next matchup. Egg United versus How Is This Happening? It was a big Monday for Egg, 34 points on that first day, and they sort of cruised to victory, even though Hith made it rather close in the end with 2 big days on Saturday and Sunday. So for UF United, the big performer, the MVP, was William Nylander with 14.1 fantasy points. Other top performers included Leon Draisaitl with 11.6. Also, Stützle finally did something, 10.2 points. And DeBrincat, continuing the theme of players who hadn't done much, who did finally do something on this week, 11.3 for DeBrincat. And any other top performers? The goalie, Saros, with 12. The low performer was Principal Skinner with negative 7.6. Going down to Hith. Hith, what did they do? Well, not Josh. It was Kucherov, no surprise. Kucherov was the top performer for How Is This Happening? Surprisingly, the goalies, after having not played much lately, they were the two of the biggest, brightest spots for How is this happening? Talbot with 8.4 and James Reimer with 6.6 for a total of 15 points. So another big win for Egg United. Actually, this might have been coming off a loss. So a much needed win for Egg United to gain some momentum. Okay, let's go to the next matchup. Doketown Danglers versus the Mustachios de Austin. It was the Danglers winning 132.3 to 120. You look at the day-by-day scoring, and it was a huge Sunday for the Danglers. It looked like they might lose, but a strong finish there on the Sunday gave them the victory. Big Saturday also for team manager Xander Best on the ice for the Sunny Corner Thunder. I heard that from various sources in New Brunswick. Looking at the Danglers' performances, Josh Morrissey, 13.7 points, was the MVP. Other top performers, a lot of defensemen. Sanheim with 12. Latang down here with 11.5. Also, Crosby, 10.7, and McDavid, 11.7. The Danglers have won the McDavid trade for 3 weeks in a row now. Trocheck also had 10.8. Looking at the Mustachios, the top performer of the matchup was Austin Matthews with 15.4 points. William Karlsson, that is, with 12.1. Hagel had 10 points, and Drew Doughty had 10.7. The goalies also did very well. UPL with 12.8 and Swayman with 10.2 for a total of 23. That was probably third best as far as goalie tandems go for this week. So, Danglers win. They win again. I think this is a streak. We'll see later on, but they win over the Mustachios. Going to the next matchup, it was Still Stick Fail defeating Staying Alive 132 to 107.7. The eliminated becomes the eliminator, as Staying Alive is now officially dead. It was a big Monday for Skill Stick Fail. 43.9 to 20.3 on that Monday. And really, it was clear sailing from there. Looking at some of the performances, the MVP for Skill Stick Fail was JT Miller with a huge total, 20.2. Other top performers, look at the bottom here. Mitchell Marner, who has since been traded, 15.1 fantasy points. Traded in real life was Sean Monahan to the Jets. He has 10.7 fantasy points. Kadri had 12.6 and Darlene had 10.2. Looking at Staying Alive, by the way, negative 1.6 for the goalie tandem for Skill Stick Fail. But moving down to Staying Alive, the MVP, 24.5. He was the top performer of the matchup. Kirill Kaprizov, another wild player, as was mentioned before. Skill Stick Fail still was able to overcome that huge total from Kaprizov. 10.8 for Patrick Kane. Staying Alive wins so far the Tage Thompson Patrick Kane trade. 15.1 for Shabbat. 15.1. And any other notables? Look at the goalies. Another negative goalie tandem thanks to Joey Decord's negative 7.6. So a sad week for Staying Alive, eliminated from the playoffs. Big win as the spoiler for Skill Stick Fail. So now the spoiled will become the spoiler. Finally, Slay All Day versus Team 1. It was Team 1 with the big point total, as was mentioned. This was a huge week for point totals. Look, everyone had over 100 points. There were more games than ever before in week number 19. And the Slay All Day had 104.8. 8. Slay actually had built a lead here looking at Tuesday, but after that, it all fell apart as Team 1 just put the points up each day, having more and more than Slay all day. They couldn't fend off the comeback. Team 1, their MVP was their goalie, Alex Lyon, with 20 points. Total of 29.6 for the tandem. That was second best. Other top performers, it was just an all-around consistent, solid performance from the team. Other than Lyon, no huge totals. Others in double digits were Brodin, a Minnesota Wild player, and Zach Werenski. Slay all day, another Wild player, Jeek, as I like to call him, Joel Eriksson Ek, 16.6 points. He was he the top performer? I don't have any notes, actually, for Slay all day. Looks like he was. Any other double-digit players? Nope, actually, there were not. The goalie almost got 10, Sergei Bobrovsky. But Sorokin, the waiver pickup, with only 0.8. So Team 1 with the win. Now, let's go to the standings after Week 19. Let's see where things stand. Team 1 still in first in the Prince of Wales division. They have clinched a playoff spot. The Mustachios, after dropping a matchup and Team 1 winning, they're now once again 2 games back. How is this happening? They also lost. They're 9-10. They have a sub 50% chance of making the playoffs now. As mentioned before, the Flames and Staying Alive, both 6-13, they have been eliminated from the playoffs. Going over the Clarence Campbell division, Lenny's Legends still in lead after winning once again, 16-3. Egg United also were winners, 10-9. Now with a 96% chance of making the playoffs. The Mustachios, 99%, but they still have not made it. They can't get too comfortable yet. Danglers, 9-9. Now an 89% chance. They have jumped into a tie with Slay all day, but with the tiebreakers, it appears as though the Danglers are in a better position than Slay all day. 89-73 are the playoff odds. So, Slay all day has some work to do. They'll have to overcome or fend off. How is this happening? It looks like it'll come down to one of those 3 teams, Danglers, Slay all day, and How is this happening being the last team eliminated. And as mentioned already last week, Skill Stick Fail has been eliminated, 5-14. Now it's time to check out who's hot and who's not. Going down to the Streaks. The team that is smoking hot right now is the Lenny's Legends, winners of 7 in a row. That's sort of gone under the radar, I think. Winners of 7 in a row. Let's click the streak column. Next, a modest 2-game winning streak for the Danglers. That's it for streaks. For the losing streaks, Staying Alive, after winning so many in a row, have now lost 3 in a row. I think their whole season has been a streak. Losing, winning, and now losing again. And How is this happening? Have also lost 2 in a row. Let's go up and check what will be this week's marquee matchup. The matchups include these 5 matchups. How is this happening versus Lenny's Legends? Playoff implications here for How is this happening? And other teams who are trying to make sure Hith does not make the playoffs. That's not the marquee matchup. Mustachios, Egg United. This has a lot in the way of playoff implications. That's a consideration. Staying Alive versus Doketown Danglers. Danglers are in the hunt. Staying Alive has been eliminated, though. Team 1 versus Skill Stick Fail, father and son. Not too exciting, though. Team 1 in first. already clinched a playoff spot, and Skillstick Fail already eliminated. The Flames, as mentioned, have been eliminated. Slay All Day is desperate to get into the playoffs. The marquee matchup, I will say, is the Mustachios versus Egg United. It seems like the Mustachios are always in the marquee matchup, but we got to go with this one. Two teams still with something to play for. Mustachios still believing that they can win that Prince of Wales division. Egg United looking to be perhaps the third seed in the league. So that's your marquee matchup. Mustachios versus Egg United. As for predictions, I believe I was 3-2 last week after having gone 4-1 the previous week. I believe we're over 500 by quite a bit in the prediction. Look at that. We just saw how is this happening. Get another point, 4.5 to 0. What is my prediction here? Once again, I'm going with the Legends. Mustachios versus Egg United. This is the one that there's always a toss-up and always a tough prediction to make. I'm going to go with, we saw that Stützle, and he's produced some points already. Stützle and DeBrincat produced last week. Ovechkin has started to produce. Skinner, the Oilers have been losing, and he was producing a lot of points for Egg United in the previous few weeks. We're going to go with, let's go with Egg United. Staying Alive versus Doketown Danglers. We're going to go with Danglers. I know that Staying Alive might be relishing the role of spoiler now, but the Danglers, we predict, will be the winners of this matchup. Team 1 versus Still Stick Fail. We got to go with Team 1 in this one. And finally, Flames versus Slay All Day. Father-daughter matchup. We have to think that Slay All Day trying to make a push for the playoffs here after some setbacks recently. We got to believe that Slay All Day will somehow find a way to pull out a victory in this matchup. So those are your predictions for week number 20. So that's this week's recap. Thank you for watching. We welcome all of our new subscribers, and hit the like button as well. Don't forget to do that. Doesn't cost you anything. And straight down there, hit the like button. May this be the record week for likes on the channel. So good luck, everyone. Even for how is this happening, I won't be too disappointed. It would be terrible if we went into the playoffs having won several in a row. We feel that would just be like a curse waiting for a loss that first matchup in the playoffs. So good luck to everyone, and we'll see how it all turns out next time for recap number 20. Good night, good day, whenever you're watching this, everyone.